I have a question. I mean, you just started off with your story by saying you developed the software right from the inception. You gave the software to the bus operators to operate.
Yeah.
Hello. But at the end of it, they didn't use it. So how did you manage to overcome this?
Yeah, actually, yeah, sorry, I missed that. So we thought when you look at it as a problem, the most logical thing that occurs to you is go to the bus operator. It's a chicken and egg. Will you get customers first or the bus operators first? If you get customers first and when they come onto your site, if there's no inventory, they would go back. Whereas at least to the bus operators, you can just go and say, you may not get sales, but just use this software so that you can improve your operations, reduce your expenses and etc. and all. So that appeared to be the most logical. So we created this software, went to the bus operators, they were not taking it, didn't know what to do. That's when we came to TiE. And TiE mentors advised us to go to the other side. They said, this way you will not make progress because there's going to be a huge entry barrier. No SME will just, and we were 25 years appearing like kids and etc. and we didn't have any legacy. So nobody would change their existing systems, believe in you and change to this new system with no, it will come in future, nobody would change. They said, instead go to the consumer side and then see if you can get customers to buy. And that is where your actually even revenue is. When giving software to the bus operator, there's not that much revenue. Whereas on a consumer brand and a consumer this thing, there's a lot of revenue. So they said, somehow go and solve that. So our initial thing is, and it was the initial thought in our mind that, okay, you can sit in the AC room and give us this advice, but how do we go and get a customer when there's no inventory? But then we said, okay, anyway, if you're not making any progress this way, at least let's go there and try to figure out a solution. And we forced ourselves as to figure out a solution of selling bus tickets on the website where the supply side is not computerized. When we are forcing that problem onto ourselves, we came up with a solution where we said, we'll go and block inventory in each of these buses, maybe about 2 seats, maybe about 4 seats, put it on the site as if only those seats were available and no other seats were available, and then start selling. And the contract between the bus operator and us is, if we sell these 4 seats, before he sells the remaining 36 seats, we call him and take more seats. But if he sells 36 seats before we sell these 4 seats, he takes our seats back. But before selling his 36 seats, he would not sell these 4 seats. So we had a kind of arrangement with them. That also when we pitched to the bus operators, nobody was giving. And then again, we didn't know what to do. Then we realized that most of the seats get sold in the last 3 days. So our pitch to them is, when your sales start, that is when we'll return all your inventory. So give us the inventory from now to 3 days before the date of journey. And if we sell even 1 seat, it is an advantage to you. So can you give? Then they said, okay, we will give you, but we will not give you weekend inventory. So actually the whole thing, we got a very small inventory which is not used, which cannot be bought, nobody buys and etc. and all that, right? But however, and we got from only one operator or so who said, I'll give you 2 weeks time. If you're able to sell at least 1 seat, then you're in. Otherwise, you get back to your jobs. Don't do all this thing, right? So then we went with that. Whatever we got, 3 days before the date of journey, we have to return that inventory. But the good thing that we got is there's no inventory risk, which means if it is not sold, we don't have to pay for that. So we got that inventory, put it on the site, and the next big problem is how do we get customers? And for that we did, I mean the thing that we knew is how a IT customer how a IT employee behaved, right? During lunch, after lunch, you just go out for a walk. So we said that is where we have to catch them. So we stood at the campus gates and then distributed our pamphlets. And that also really worked very well for us because whoever our competitors at the gate, the guys who are distributing the credit card pamphlets and etc. and all that. And we were standing with them. And when a customer passes by, right, when you, first of all, you're looking very different from the rest of the people there, right? And the second thing is when you give this card and the customer has any questions, because you are the guy yourself, you can answer any question that he may have. What that does is it increases customers' confidence in the product and whatever, who are the operators who are there, who are you, I know there is a redBus in UK, are you the same company, are you Indian company? There are like 20 questions that they will have, is the credit card. So because we were distributing, we could answer all those questions and instill that confidence in people to buy to give us a chance. I think those things helped us, and people came, the first few people came in onto the site, started buying some seats, and then we continued. Even when we are selling good number of seats, we continued that way for the first 3 years, again because of the advice that we got. Mentors kept on saying that the most difficult thing is to get a customer to pay for your this thing. The easiest thing to do is write this software, give it to the bus operators for free, for paid, whatever it is, and etc. and all. But the most difficult thing is to do that, and you continue to do that. They said, continue to focus there. Even when we raise capital, we believe that, okay, maybe we can just deploy another 20 people team to create the software for the bus operators, improve it, and go there, and etc. But the mentor said, focus on the sales side. And for the first 3 years, we continue to focus on that. And by then, at the end of 3 years, we kind of built an expertise and understanding as to why customer will buy, how will he buy, what inventory will he buy, how to get them, where to get them, because you are working on that problem for 1,000 days, right? I mean, you kind of get a understanding of that. And then I think that made a big difference to us. Our competitors, they kept believing that, okay, when they give software to the bus operators, someday they will throttle us, in the sense that they will cut off the, let's say they go and give software to a bus operator. Until then, the bus operator is working in an offline mode with us. And when they become big, they can cut off all the inventory of all the bus operators to us. And these customers have no choice but to shift to the competitor's website. Again, logically it appears right. But when we discussed along with the mentors, mentor said all the easy things appear very logical because you tend to justify it that way and etc. But continue to focus here. We focus there, and I think in retrospect we are far more successful than our competitors who worked on the bus operator software side. Yeah.
What time you decided to quit your job?
Okay. So actually when we were doing this software, because it was open source, and also in our mind somewhere I was thinking maybe we are doing something which is not legal, because I remembered signing an agreement when I joined the company saying that I won't do anything other than this, I won't do any other job, and etc. and all that. So I thought maybe what I'm doing was not legal. So I went back to my manager and asked, I'm doing this software, is it okay? And the manager said, as long as you're not building the same microchip, right, that you're building at Texas Instruments, and as long as it doesn't impact your schedules, you can do whatever you want to do. So the first 5 months when we did part-time, we did it along with the job. But when we launched the commercial side, that is when we resigned in the same month. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Add on to that question. So what changes, internal changes you had to undergo when you moved from a very good job in Texas Instruments?
Yeah, actually that was a big sudden change for many things. I mean, until then you are very pampered. Either at, I mean, we got good grades, went to the good college, so parents pamper you, then you got a campus placement, so again you're pampered. Then even at work, right, especially in IT companies, managers cannot shout at you, right? All these things. So you are always taken care of. Like even the receptionist, right? I mean, when you go enter office, the receptionist smiles at you. There are flowers which change every day. Everything is so right. There are 3 cuisines or the 3 types of this thing for lunch, and you can complain if you don't like it, right? So it is very you are in a shell. I remember actually when we moved, I was working here in Gulf. Yeah, the Gulf View. Yeah. Gulfview campus, yeah, Gulfview campus of Texas Instruments, and then we shifted to Bagmane Tech Park. When I went there, and we were assigned cubicles, right? And in the cubicle where I was assigned, there was a AC duct just like this, right at my chair. And then all that I had to do is wrote a mail to admin, and next day it was shifted from there to somewhere else. It is like, right? It is so fantastic. And then you never seen this other world, so you don't know of it. You leave your job, get here, and then you're trying to meet a bus operator, and that right? And that bus operator doesn't even acknowledge your presence. Like imagine going to Kalasipalyam, saying, I want to meet you, sir. And another thing, you start saying, sir. You've never, right? At college, you're used to saying, sir. When you join an office, they teach you not to say, sir, however old your manager is, right? And then you learn that. Suddenly, when you come here, anybody, right? Anybody, you have to address him by sir. So these are some of even these things kind of make you feel what is happening, right? And then you go and try to take an appointment. That guy doesn't give appointment. He says, kal aa jao 9 baje. You go at 9 baje, he's not there at all. And there were times when I just sat in Kalasipalyam from morning till evening just to meet him. So he comes at, the bus operator comes at 11 o'clock, and then I'm sitting there. He wouldn't even look at me. I mean, he knows that, okay, this guy is some software and etc. and all. He just goes there, finishes off his work, goes away at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock for lunch. Again, he doesn't talk to me, but I am there. Like firmly, I have to meet him. Otherwise, I have nothing to do in this world, right? So 2 o'clock he goes for lunch, and then you are still sitting there. Evening 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever, and they work very long hours because the buses depart at 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock in the night, and you are just sitting there at probably 10 o'clock. He says, okay, why is this guy sitting here for so long? He's not gone away and etc. And every time he doesn't look at you, at least I felt humiliating. I felt like, what am I doing? What is this? I'm so unwanted. And another thing is, when you're pitching to him, you're asking for a favor. You're asking him to buy your software or take your software or do something. And until then, you have never asked for favors, right? You've never, I mean, in the sense that here when you're asking him to buy a software, you are for your selfish gains, right? You're trying to negotiate. You're trying to sell. You're trying to pitch. You're trying to do all those things, which is for your own self. I mean, these are the feelings that I went through. I felt like, oh, I'm asking for something for myself, right? Until then, you never had to ask anything for yourself, in the sense that if the project had to be done, you said project had to be done, so you have to do this, I have to do this. I mean, at Texas Instruments and etc. and all. So the life has emotionally changed quite a bit at that point in time. And then after that, the other things that happen.
Sorry, the timeline.
Sure.
When did you resign?
Will
5 months? When was that? I think that is really important for us to know. When did you take that jump?
Actually, yeah. Left, resigned after EAP.
After EAP.
Yeah.
Okay. So
After
that
EAP.
The card from VP bank, and then you say resign. Okay, I got Silicon Valley Bank behind me.
Yeah. I think it certainly made a difference. Even if you are not selected by EAP, probably would have resigned. But probably, I don't know, maybe we would have resigned, but getting selected by EAP gave us a lot of confidence to just go ahead and resign, because it was external validation and etc. and all that, and the people were like really big people, right? So so that gave us this thing, and so those were some of the things that were very, and then after that you feel when you come back home, you realize you don't have money. I mean, the money, there is no input, there is only output, there is only going out, right? You cut down everything because you need to have that money. So you cut down, actually, it may appear phlegmatic, but we even cut down on lunches. And we said we'll only have dinner and etc. and all that for a few days, not for so long. But all those things, sometimes you probably maybe we overreacted or whatever it is, but you go through all these things, and then your friends, 7 of us started, 4 of them said after I think in that 5 months phase, even before we pitched to EAP, in that 5 months phase, 4 people said, oh, this is difficult, this is not, we can't do it and etc. and all. So only 3 of us were left behind. And those 4 guys, when the weekend comes for them, it's a usual weekend. So they go for a movie, and then you are here working on this, right? And then you have a bad day with the bus operator, come back, and these guys are going for movie, and you don't even realize it's a Sunday. Only when they go for a movie you realize it's a weekend and etc. and all that. So emotionally it was very, very difficult. Then after that, even when you got the fund, I mean during those days it was not celebrated as a milestone. It was more of an obligation. You've taken somebody's money, now you have to return and etc. So that continued. Yeah, but actually the whole thing of entrepreneurship, it has changed us a lot. I feel this process of entrepreneurship, right? How many ever years it is a process of probably self-purification. We are completely different from where we were 7 years back. You become more tolerant, more mature, honest, many things. Like I would bribe a police cop before starting redBus. You break the signal because you can't wait if there is a red. You have to cross it and go, right? If nobody is coming, you have to just cross, right? So we did that, but after we started redBus, when the mentors, actually Sanjay asked, what do you want redBus to stand for? He actually made us think as to what should be the value system and blah 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 and etc. And then when you introspect and think and etc. and all that, that is when you realize that what you shouldn't do. Why shouldn't you even break a traffic signal? Why should you be the way you should be? Blah 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 and etc. So many things go through your mind, and then you have a different belief system, right? And we went through many of those cycles, and I think we are. Just for that, entrepreneurship is worth it, right? Yeah. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask you. See, at what point of time did you think you were underfunded or overfunded when you got an offer from the VC, and what made you choose this domain name, redBus?
Okay, so actually underfunding, actually the first time when we got the check from VC seed fund, it was 2.5 crores and we thought we were like overfunded. Right? We were asking for 30 lakhs in our pitch, and also my first presentation, my EAP pitch was we need 30 lakh rupees and we are willing to give this 30% equity and build this company and etc. Our thinking also, even today, right? Then because you are spending in thousands, you are only spending in thousands. Lakhs were a big number. I've never written a lakh check. I've never spent a lakh anywhere until then. Lakhs were a big number. And then if you think of a crore, even 1 crore was like a number out of our this thing, right? And then when they said how much money would you need for a person who has never run a company, who doesn't know anything, right? The biggest number that we can think of was 30 lakhs. And I was even wondering, how do you spend 30 lakh rupees, right? So we pitched that, but then Bharti, when the first pitch was like that, and then she sat with us from seed fund. She said, increase this, decrease this, and etc. and all that, and we did 7 iterations. I still have 7th version, V7, that Excel sheet, which ended up saying we need about 2.5-3 crores to spend in the first year to reach to a stage where we can raise further capital, not even build the entire company. And when I saw that, I was very shocked. I said 2.5 crores. I thought the company in its best case scenario will be worth 1 crore, will be making 1 crore. In a company which is likely to be worth 1 crore, you put 2.5 crores. What sense does it make, right? So things like that. That is the first time I felt it was like probably overfunded. But I think after that you also know the world. We went through difficult phase after Lehman Brothers collapsed. Then the third round we said, how much ever money you have, you are never overfunded because some other brothers may collapse, right? So that was the thing. Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit about this, but especially when
Yeah.
especially when you start a company, there is always this thing about where do you spend more time, energy, money in, especially for an e-commerce firm, whether it is on the platform, improving the website, improving the experience, maybe improving the navigation, or spend more time in terms of building the business, so to say, get more customers, make sure that the revenue stream starts flowing in. So And obviously, if there is no constraint, then ideally you would like to do both together. But if there are constraints, then how would you kind of divide your energy?
Yeah, actually, in my experience, I think we all have constraints, and money is not the only constraint. I mean, we had the money, but we were just not able to do all the things that we want to do. Even today, we have, now that we have acquired and the company has $1 billion EBITDA, when translated to Indian currency, they have like 600 crores EBITDA every month, right? And they are willing to spend money and etc. There is money, but execution and thinking and doing and comprehending, recruiting people, putting them together, giving them motivation, all this takes time. So it takes time and energy and etc. and all that. So I always wanted to believe that you are always bandwidth constrained. And that is what I think also got us into doing only bus tickets, only in India, only in few geographies, only this thing, because we believe that we are bandwidth constrained. That's the focus that we got. And even in that, when you're doing bus tickets, there's a front end, there is a back end, then there is a bus operator software. Even in that, we said we are doing only the customer side. And even in that, we said what is most important to us is the customers who are already coming onto your site. That's a priority number one, much above priorities where you have to get more customers. Yes, you have to increase your revenues and etc. But how do you achieve more revenues? You can sell to more customers that come to you, or you can get more customers to come to you. So we said, again, getting more customers will take bandwidth. The guys who are coming to you, just work on them. Why are they not buying, right? And in the course of answering that question and figuring out and etc., I think what we have arrived at in retrospect now, when I sit back and see, will be amongst the highest converting websites, travel websites certainly in the world, or probably we are the highest converting website in the world after IRC. I mean, maybe IRCTC does more conversions, but that because nobody, if we went by a benchmark, if somebody told us, okay, the world converts at let's say 3% and you are at 2%, get to a 3%, we'd have probably just got stuck at 3%, right? We said, why are 100 people coming to you and only 3 people buying from you? What is happening to this 97 people? They have an intention to travel, but they're not buying with you. In the course of answering that, we figured out many small things. What is the right fare? What is the right site speed? How do you get the payment gateways to work? Today it is far better, but during those days, we built our own mechanism to understand which payment gateway would fail which card. For example, a IOC card, the Indian Oil card given by ICICI Bank would fail on a HDFC payment gateway, though it is Visa. So things like these we identified, because for us that one customer who is not converting was very important. So we focused on that, and thankfully that was also a big revenue generator for us, and I think things were fine.
The software and the business development part, because I remember you talking about, there were one line of people who were saying let's build a better software, let's make that better, versus your mentors saying that focus on the customer, let's get more business. How do you kind of divide it?
Yeah, actually it is customer. The software, that software for bus operator was abandoned. That we didn't do. That was abandoned, and we were working software, whatever software energies we were putting only for customer on redbus.in on the customer side. Sure.
Per month?
Actually nothing. When we got seed fund, our revenue was probably, I think, when they gave us a term sheet, our revenue was probably less than 6,000-7,000 a month of our commission revenue. I don't know if I can speak now. Yeah. But usually it is either 25% or 1/3 or 40%, so it is in that range.
I have read about your first ticket being what you kindly told that some Infosys already have bought it and people point to his
The bus stand. We went to the bus stand. Yeah.
that
Yeah, actually, for us, she was the first customer, and with our interactions with the bus operator, we realized that they're very unorganized, they don't care, etc. and all. And for us, this was like a very important event, right? And I can say we got a little spoiled over time, but during those days, we were like, for us, customer experience was the highest thing, right? So we said this customer has to, should not have any problem. The only way to make sure she doesn't have a problem is just land up there, make sure the seat is allocated to her and she gets into the bus and etc. and all. But though, again talking about the emotional and etc. and all, we didn't have the courage to go and say that actually the site that you bought from, we are the founders, we wrote the software and etc. and all. For many months and probably all through the first year and etc. we didn't want to tell anybody we were the CEO or etc. and all that, because we thought they would not buy. They know. Yeah, sure.
How did you do the marketing and branding part of it? Because redBus is a known brand right now in India. So from your starting, when nobody knew you, and to the point where most of them, some people know about you, how was the journey for the marketing part?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to know also the time and money you spent for marketing.
Actually, yeah, sure.
I have a parallel question, hence I'm just adding. Thanks. You said your first customers from Infosys, but you were working with Texas Instruments. Any IT guy would naturally, if he has to sell, he would say, let me try and circulate it within my Office group and my Yahoo group, and let me at least get my first 10, 20 customers and kick it on from there. So hence, how the thought not to do it, say at an office level or a corporate tie-up kind of thing to first kick off your first set of consumers, but to build a brand like a direct consumer-facing brand.
Yeah, actually, we didn't do any marketing. Even the way we got Infosys customer is because we actually Infosys. I don't know now, but during those days is known for these discussion boards that they have internally. Discussion boards where people go and discuss and that and etc. and all. So we got our friends to actually implant this story on the discussion board saying, have you booked a ticket on redBus? Right? And then they were wondering what is redBus, and they were talking, and then we thought somebody came in and etc. I think that actually gave the confidence, probably, because her fellow colleagues were talking about it. Maybe she thought it is acceptable and etc. and maybe she just bought it in ignorance, but that is how we got the customer. She actually looked at it on the discussion board and then came to us. And one other thing that we are doing in our emotional psychological journey during those days is we made sure that we would not distribute cards or pamphlets. We would not stand in front of my own office. Like I would not stand in front of Texas Instruments handing those pamphlets. Right? It was just not acceptable for me. Likewise, Charan is a very different guy. He doesn't care for anything. He like go and do and etc. So he also went to Honeywell and did that. But Sudhakar didn't do it in IBM. I didn't do it Texas Instruments. I would go to IBM. He would probably go here. So that's the thing. And on advertisement, in the initial days, we did some pamphlet distribution in front of offices and in buses. So one of those buses, when we were distributing in Madiwala, there was a journalist from cyber media. He was sitting in the bus and we gave the pamphlet, and then he said, what is this? We explained to him. Next day he wrote to us saying, okay, I want to do an interview on what you're doing and etc. So that was our first press presence. Then after that, somehow I started believing that, and also I was very influenced by Virgin, Richard Branson's Virgin story as to how we set up the company, what he did and etc. and all. And one realization that I had is he has so much money to do advertising, marketing and etc. but still he does all those stunts to get free marketing. And it is so risky because he's worth so much now. That if he is not worth anything, he can do any risk, but so much, but he still does that. I think from there again it was put, I mean somehow I started believing that we have to leverage the media. We have to leverage PR and get things done and etc. After we got this interview, then what we did is we wrote a press release Again, see, when you have a problem, when you want to leverage media, right, when you know that is your objective, you keep asking that question, and that objective has to be strong enough that you want to leverage, you don't know how to leverage, but you want to leverage PR, then I think you will get the answer, because you will ask anybody, everybody, whoever comes to you. You can even go and ask the same journalist, I want more media, how do I get, and etc. You don't feel like anything is wrong, and etc. If that is there, I don't know how I discovered, where I discovered, but somebody told us, write this thing, press release, and drop it in, every of this press company like Deccan Herald and etc. They have a box at the gate. You should go there and drop it there, and you should drop it in the night. You should drop it in the night or something like that. I remember we printed all this papers we wrote, and then we went and dropped at all these. We took a list of where all the press, the newspaper companies. So we went and dropped. We got some. We got some people calling us, and that's how the journey started. And every time, even now, of course, I mean now, because we are a public company, I can't speak, I can't get into the media and speak a lot and etc. and all. But earlier, the highest priority, if a phone rings on my phone, the highest priority, the call that I will absolutely is when it's from a journalist. And that is absolutely, I may not pick up from investors, from family members, from anybody, right? If I'm unable to pick up, but journalists, pakka, even if I'm in a board meeting or whatever it is, I take the call, go out and come back, because you need them, right? I mean, because that is the only media, that is the marketing that you have. And very, very interestingly, every time they talk about you, they don't talk, I mean, they make a larger than life picture of you, right? of the company and of this and etc. and all. And many times I'm also surprised at the awards that we got and the recognition that we got, right? Recently we got in international press, we got an award where we said we are the 50 most innovative companies in the world, right? And along with Google, Facebook, and it is not a ranking given by anybody and everybody. It is a reputed Fast company. They have ranked us at 50 most innovative companies. And all that has happened because every time they want to talk to you, you talk to them, and then they write a larger than life picture, and then somebody else believes in it. And right, so that I think that did a big marketing thing for us. Yeah. Actually, on marketing we did spend on TV and etc. and all that until very recently, right? Until this transaction, just when it was happening, until then. But the entire company is built with SEM marketing. And SEM is a must, because when people are looking for you, if you are not there, your competitor is there, so you can't escape it. You have to be there. But other than that, we didn't spend any money. Actually, it is zero. Other than SEM, we didn't spend any money in marketing. Sorry. Actually, in the initial days when we started, it was zero completely. In fact, the VC made sure, seed fund Mahesh Murthy made sure that marketing budget had zero number in it, right? Because he said if your solution is not required by customers, if you have to advertise to get customers and etc., maybe it is not the right solution. He said customers should come for you. And then he gave us all these ideas about, did you ever see Google advertisement, did you ever see this advertisement, that advertisement and all, and we started believing in it. So initially we had zero. Until there was a colleague of mine who joined in the senior management, his name is AB. He joined and he said, no, we should do SEM. I said, no, we are not doing SEM, because personally I've never clicked on the ads. When you search, during those days Google didn't do a ad at the banner level. They did only the side things, and I've never ever clicked on those. So my belief in my worldview was nobody clicks on those. I said, no, we are not doing it and etc. and all. And at last he was like, AB has this thing, if he pursues something, he pursues hard. So he came and said, at least give me 250 rupees, and with the 250 rupees, if I am able to demonstrate to you that I can, you will be profitable, give me that. And then I said, okay, 250 rupees is better to give him than keep on getting it. and he started with a 250 rupee budget. He didn't know SEM, he didn't know anything. He's a very versatile guy. So he learnt about it and he put that 250 rupees and showed me that we earned more than 250 rupees. And then next month he asked for 1,000 rupees and etc. and all that. For a long time actually our spends were few thousands a month on SEM. Then after a time it just took off. We spent a lot more money. But the entire company, one statistic that I can say is in the last 7 years, the external funding that we used, that we spent, not what we raised, that we spent in building redBus is about 8 crores. So 7 years from beginning to end, we spent about 8 odd crores and got here. And I think that is also one of the reasons why, let's say we exited at 100 crores, right? And if you had spent 90 crores to get to a stage where we can sell the company at 100 crores, nobody would have, I would not have been called here to speak. All the VCs would have said we lost money in this, it was a distress sale, nothing happened, blah 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 and etc. For same company sold at 100 crores but built with let's say 5 crores. Everyone will say, oh, we made so much money, fantastic success story and etc. and all that. So I mean my learning has been that, right? I mean you do the same things, arrive at the same place, even how much money you put in makes all the difference between a success and a failure. Right? I mean, reading this Richard Branson's autobiography, Losing My Virginity, and I was so I mean, this is one of the books which I literally couldn't put it aside until I went to the last page. I was so fascinated with the whole story as to how he started and how he did what he did and etc. That was just about the time when we were thinking of this idea. So I was so fascinated that I said, I was in that mode. So that is one thing. And the other thing that we thought when we were thinking of the name is we said we need to have a color in our brand name. And then during those days, even now and etc. and all, we said everything that you have at your disposal is a resource, and you have to use it as a resource because you don't have any other resources. So we said even when you are naming a company, instead of naming it anything and everything, right, use it as a resource. And whether naming redBus or even Pilani Soft Labs, the company is called Pilani Soft Labs. Even when we are naming the company as Pilani Soft Labs, we felt it is a resource and we have to use it the right way. And the reason we chose it as Pilani Soft Labs is because nobody knew about us and we are asking them to give us credit card details and etc. We had to establish that trust and credit, trust with the customers. So how do we convey to them who we are, right? And then just out of the college, your alumni network, you're so proud about your college and you feel the whole world is only BITS Pilani students and etc. and all that. We said, let us communicate to the world and the customers that we are actually from Pilani, so we won't cheat, we won't take your this thing and etc. So even that name, we somehow got, we got Pilani into it. That is how it is used, and it did its job. For many people, it was a confidence thing, and for many others, for many Bitsians, it was an emotional thing. Okay, our college people and etc. and all that. So it did that job. Then after that, when we were thinking of the website, we said, okay, what should be what should we have in the website? The first thing is we said in our brand name we should have a color, whichever color it is, and we thought we should have a color because when people see that color, they will think about us. Some hope we had, right? Whenever they see that color, they will think about us. And then once we said we have to have a color, then the other thing that we thought is we are a website company, which means that the whatever color that you choose cannot have a complex spelling, because let's say we chose white bus, right? People when they're typing white, they may make a typo mistake because many of us, many people probably cannot spell white, it is so complex, right? So if he said if we call it green, green has two E's, people can make a typo. They can just type GREN and then they can go to another website, right? So we said out of all the colors, which is the color which has the smallest spelling, so that people cannot make a mistake there, right? Even phonetically. So that's how we went through the dictionary, looked at all the colors, and then we realized red is the color which cannot be spelled in any other way than RED, and it has the smallest spelling of all the colors, and it is simple. And then we later justified to ourselves saying it also stands for energy, young, and all that. So that's how red was finalized. And another influence was also Richard Branson. Virgin Atlantic was red. The logo is, his color is red, and that was another thing that influenced it. Once we had red, then we were thinking red by itself doesn't mean anything. What is the other thing that we should have? Initial thought was we will call it red line. Again, two thoughts there. One thing is this ICICI Prudential, there is this ad where there is a tilak which goes, right? And that ad, probably none of us would have ever cared when that ad was coming, but whenever you see a tilak, at least whenever I see a tilak, it just reminds me of ICICI, that thing, Prudential. And I thought this is so fantastic. Wherever anybody puts a red line, right, people will think of our brand. So let us call it red line, right? And then we thought red line is such a fantastic thing. Let's close on it. And also because in Delhi, because we studied in Penali, every time you pass through Delhi, and there are all these white line, blue line, all these different lines, and that those are also buses. So there's another nice triangulation. So we finalized on red line. And then we went to we went to buy a domain, and then we realized that red line is not there. Somebody has bought red line. We even tried to negotiate with him. He said he's not going to sell us the website name and etc. and all that. And then as a second choice, we said, okay, now what do we do? Then when we are like thinking, talking and etc., suddenly we came up with redBus. And I think in retrospect, redBus is a much probably a better name than red line, because it has this nostalgic feeling. All the government buses are red color. They are called Errabus in Telugu, and they are called Lal Dabba in Hindi and etc. and all. So I think again one other thing that I have started to believe is, and which again helped us all through, is when you really want to do something, right? I mean, there's a saying which says that the world will conspire to help you to make it happen, right? I mean, it has happened many times to us. We would have landed up with red line. Something happened, and we landed at redBus, right? Which is a much better name than red line. Then again, even in our logo, when we got our logo created, it was just my instructions to the logo designer was it should the Virgin logo, right? Right? It has this V and Virgin, right? So I said the R has to be like V in Virgin, and then it has to exactly look like that, like REDBUS, and there is a line, right? So she made all these different models like that, and then she also made our current logo just as a sample, because I think she liked it that way. And when we looked at it, we just appealed to us, the logo that we use. We said, okay, this is the logo that we are going with, and we used that logo. And later, there's a small story there also. Later, when we hired our first finance head / CFO, he made observation. He came and said he was telling his Guruji or somebody that he was joining a startup and he's taking this risk and etc. and all that. And the Guruji looked at this, I don't know what he looked at, offer letter, I don't know what he looked at. And then Guruji told him, it seems, that the logo is perfectly as per Vastu, right? Right? This side it has to be a little higher, this side it a little lower, that, this and etc. And then when he came and told me that thing, I immediately called up this designer and said, I mean, I thought maybe it is science. I mean, maybe they consider Vastu while designing it. I asked her if you would consider. She said, nothing, I just put it together and came to you. So there's another instance where the world conspired to help us. I mean, have the right Vastu compliant logo, right, and all those things. So yeah, sure.
Board of directors versus board of advisors. How did that actually help you with your VC pitch? And also, since you started out, the initial board of directors, how do you get them? I mean, do you offer them an equity and salary, or how do you?
We didn't give any salary, and equity also was not a part of the deal. That okay, you come and join the board, and then we'll give you equity. I mean, I think they readily joined even before giving the equity. We gave equity as a second, not related to that. But I think there are many people, right, who are willing to, right, in Bangalore, by people who are not even related to us. They are not our friends. They are not even our neighbors. Let's say, okay, fine, yeah, he is a neighbor. Let's do. And there's somewhere there something not related, right? Every time, many times, they've all come forward, helped, and then built us, right? Yeah.
Give them any money at all?
So not as a part of the deal, but yes, we gave some equity because yeah, they were there, and we just, and the numbers also we randomly picked. We said okay. We said okay, 1% each. We just gave, right? So it was all random, and they also are not like coming here for stock, and there was no negotiation. There was no nothing like that. So we just started working. Yeah.
How important was the board of advisors and the board of directors when you went into the VC pitch?
Actually, by then we didn't have a board. I think we didn't have a board. When we went to the VC pitch, it was not a formal board. I mean, it was a board which was created because statutory compliance, when you incorporate a company, you need, I think maybe the 3 co-founders were on the board. I don't remember. I think maybe 3 of us were on the board. So there was no board of external people. But TiE credibility and our mentors who are associated, whether they're in the board or not in the board, like KB and etc., they put a good word saying, okay, we've been working with these guys for the last 3-4 weeks, and or maybe 1-2 months, and they are people who are worth having a look at. So that helped really, and that's how we got the thing. But even in that journey, right, I mean, more than the money, what you give them, what they make, what you make, and etc. One thing that worked, for example, after we selected from EAP, I've been greatly benefited, and I've been always talking about it because we've been benefited and etc. and all. And then the second batch of EAP, there were some other startups which got selected in TiE. And then actually one of them came to me and said, oh, Phani, you keep talking so much about it. You say, oh, they have built your company, they have done this and etc. and all that. We are also went through the same EAP program, and we have overlap of one of your mentors. We have a common mentor and etc. and all that, but we are not able to gain anything. We are not right. We are not getting anything out of it. So actually, when I sat with them, discussed what happened, so what has happened, etc., and all that, my realization, which also told them, is that actually when they tell you something, right, then you evaluate and say, nah, I will take only what I want, and etc., and all that. I mean, it has to be like a guru and shishya kind of a thing. If that misses, right, I mean, how much ever you give 50% equity, also the guy is not interested. I actually, this morning I met a VC who was saying he's ignored one company because they just don't listen to him. He said, hey, what do I do there? Let me see what happens there. And he has his equity there, right? So I think what works, what has worked for us is that you have to have that thing which will just work without any money, without any. I mean, actually, many people, without even having equity, have helped us readily. Like, for example, when we got selected, Dr. Mita was the president of TiE. Dr. Mita helped us immensely then. Post that also, every time he keeps saying, okay, when you have time, let's meet, and then he keeps advising and etc. He has no equity in the company. We didn't give him anything. In fact, we have taken from him because, I mean, literally also, because the first office that we have in Domlur, the first redBus's office is his house. When he shifted the house, that was lying vacant, and then he himself said, there's a house, if you want to use it, use it. don't worry about the rent and etc. So we didn't pay rent in the initial days. Even when we started paying, we paid very little. I think, I don't know even today if you're paying the market rent. But that is the thing. You take in return and you take advice and all that. But people help. Yeah, I think it's just wonderful. I mean, I would not have believed if I had not gone through it. People selflessly, right? And during those days, all the mentors, right? I mean, though we gave equity, every time they say, okay, and Sanjay and etc. Let's meet. Sanjay's famous spot was Coffee Day in Koramangala. They would tell, let's meet in Coffee Day, and we used to worry, oh, Coffee Day, 50 rupees coffee, right? But every time he paid for it. Like, he'll give you time, and he's also paying for the coffee. I mean, we were like very, very. I mean, I think those things made us. I mean, we were in that mode. We are still in that mode that all these guys selflessly spend money, time, and etc. To help us. Yeah.
What could be unexpected?
Sure. Or should we take there because yeah. I think one trick that worked for us, which was again actually given by the senior that I asked. He said, when I had this 40-slide presentation, he said, cut. He said, that's how we arrived at 6 slides. And then when we were coming here, he said, I'm going to tell you a trick, use it. And the trick was, finish your presentation in the first, 3-4 minutes. Have majority of your time, not even 50%, majority of your time just open for Q&A. Right? So that is where then people will start following your story, ask you questions, even in there. First of all, you have only 10 minutes, which you thought was so less, and now you are telling yourself that you are going to finish the whole thing in 3 minutes. Right? And then you have 7 minutes where people are asking you questions. That's when they're thinking about your idea. That's when, right, they're saying, okay, then what is this and etc. That is what you want. At the end of the day, you just want their mind to just think about it. I think that worked fantastically for us. We did say that, but all that was irrelevant, not right. I mean, in the pitch, I only know what, I mean, I was briefly following it. I only know what it does. I don't know whether you have a prototype, whether you are a company, whether you have VC money. I don't know anything of it. Just that one thing, right? Oh, it does this, and I'm interested. Then I will find them, right? I think that was it. And everything actually. Other thing is when we went for the EAP pitch, many questions come to you. How should you be dressed? Oh, is it the valley culture where you just go in shorts, right? Or you go with a blazer, or what do you say? What do you present? Should you have revenue for you to raise capital, or should you just be an idea? So many questions come to your mind, and they also came to my mind. And the thing that you do is you just go and Google. And Google, almost for every question that you put there, not necessarily in this context, right? Any question that you put there, there are 2 contradictory answers, right? Opposite. Somebody says go in pajamas, and the other guy says no, go in blazer. You are just so confused every time you ask a question to Google, right? And then when you are like doing all this, I decided saying that I will just be myself, right? If I am fine in a, and also I think somewhere I just said we just be honest, right? I mean, whether you raise money, don't raise money, what happens, it doesn't matter. So we went, that's how I went to Bharti. And even when you go to Bharti, the seed fund, when you go and make a pitch, again 20 questions. You should have a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan or this plan or that plan. How much should you budget for your marketing? How much should you budget for this, that, and etc. Whatever came to your mind, I just put it there. Went asking for 30 lakhs. She sat with us. I think what, I don't know, my guess is what she liked is that, okay, these guys are honest. These guys are saying what they mean, even if it is really not relevant or not right. So I think that is, those are some of the things which probably make the impression. And then everything else is forgotten, right? The numbers and etc. And none of those are, you can never get any one of those right. Any one of us, we can never get them right. So I think you have to make those things. You just have to be yourself, and you really have to be yourself, because I mean, we have to believe that everybody around us is a smart guy, whether working in our company or the VCs that you're going to or a mentor that you're going to or anybody, right? We are not talking to, we are talking to the likes of us, and they're all smart people. So the minute you try to take them for a ride or you try to misrepresent yourself, you should believe that they will figure it out, right? And that forces you to just be yourself. And I think that changes the entire thing. If you, when you are yourself and you know you are doing a mistake, it will force you to not do that. Like when I was breaking a signal and will break a signal even when the VC is in the pillion riding, right? I have to change myself and don't break the signal. Those things. And the life becomes so simple, right? I mean, you don't have to worry about what you told somebody 10 years back, right? Unless you forget, you will say the same thing 10 years later also, right? It becomes very, very simple. Yeah. Sure.
So when you had an initial customer and you said you have given a lot of input to your customer, and the other area where like it is bus operator and it is a very unorganized market. So I'm sure you have come across where the situation where things are out of your hand, and like bus is already gone, now you cannot do anything. So how do you handle such kind of situation? It happens like in most of the entrepreneurs when we are going to an unorganized market. It happens like a lot of times situation goes out of our hand.
Yeah.
Because money cannot do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you handle
Yeah, actually, yeah, we went through that problem. So you go to the bus operator, request him not to do it, and you apologize to the customer. We did all those things, and you also feel bad and terrible and etc. and all that. We did all that, but one thing that I can share which helped us very much in that context is a very simple thing, that of changing the terms and conditions, right? Until then, we promised the earth good quality service, that, this and etc., where many things were out of our hands, control. So we just said, and people would, I mean, with the terms and conditions, they would have that expectation. And you had to have good terms and conditions saying that we are fantastic because you want that customer to buy, right? So when this was happening, we said, let us change the terms and conditions. And that day, actually, I and Mayank, who's another senior management in our team, we just sat together and say, let us just represent what we can do, what we can't do, and very boldly. Like even today, we use the same terms and conditions. It says, what is redBus responsible for? 1, 2, 3, 4 points. What is redBus? The next point is, what is redBus not responsible for? 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And when somebody reads that thing, I think people will not buy, because we are saying we are not responsible if the bus guy asks you to change the seat. We are not responsible if the guy is drunkard, whatever it is, wherever it is out of our hands, right? It's a terrible thing for a customer to read, saying that what am I getting when I am buying a ticket, right? But when we did that, our customer service problems have drastically changed. There was an era before that and an era after that with a very simple thing of changing that. Many people would have probably, nobody reads terms and conditions when they buy things. When there's a problem, that is when they read the terms and conditions. When they read the terms and conditions, they discover that, okay, this is out of their hands. So half the problems which were coming to you where you are helpless, where you can't do anything, customer also knows that you can't do anything, but it just gets into a troublesome situation. Now they don't come to you because the terms and conditions. There was a big difference with that one small thing. I mean, if I can share a learning, I think that is the learning. Yeah. Sure, I'll come there. Oh yeah. So yeah, 3 months after we started, so until then, so 7 of us started, and I was this captain of the ship saying, let's do it, and etc. And then I had lost 4 of the co-founders, only 3 of us were there, and I just couldn't afford to think anything negative and etc. So until we started and etc. I always said it'll happen and etc. and all that, and we started. After we started, first month hardly any sale, second month hardly any sale, third month came by, we were selling probably, I think maybe actually less than 10 seats in a week. I mean, not even 10 seats. I think we are selling very few seats in a week. And then the revenue, I remember, was about 2,000 rupees a month. And then after 3 months, it just sunk into me saying that, am I like madly taking things forward? Because there is no way this, and I mean, during that time, salaries were actually high and etc. and all that. So the aggregate salary of all of us three put together was close to 2.5 lakhs and etc. So there is no way this 2000 can at least become 2.5 lakhs, right? No way. What else we have to do for us to make this 2000 to reach that level? And that is when I went and told the co-founders probably we should call it quits, because it is just it's just not possible, right? Actually, co-founder Sudhakar told me that no, in 3 months if you have success, then everybody would do this. Let us give it a year and etc. and all. Then after that we continue. And thankfully after that we had a great festive season. We started in August, then holidays, then Raksha Bandhan, then Diwali, Christmas, New Year and etc. And it is also so important to at times have these boosters. Like I know this holiday season was phenomenal encouragement to us, because we were just every month it is growing and happy. It is growing for some other reason because there was so much travel that is happening, but at the right time starting was so encouraging to us. And later I realized, and this is also true, I realized, I mean, when we look at the bus operators, some bus operators actually when they are starting a new business and etc. and all, they time it that way, that okay, and for their equation is very different, because they are not getting VC money, they are getting loan, and the minute they take loan they have to start paying. So it is better for them to take the loan just before the festival season where they know that money is going to come, rather than take 3 months before that and suffer for 3 months, by then lose encouragement and motivation and etc. So that helped. Yeah. Okay, the first lady question. To us it didn't affect at all. It didn't affect at all, and my belief is in this world, right, there are people of every type, there are VCs of every type, right. I mean, some VCs like that, some VCs have this philosophy, some VCs have some other philosophy. There are some VCs which I discovered during the course of the journey that they give you money, but they want only social non-profit or that things to be done. I was like shocked. VC has to make money, and he's saying here's the money, do some non-profit, I mean social service, things like that, right? So there are every, sorry? Impact, you can search for impact investors and etc. and all, you will find there. I mean, for them the objective, the primary objective is not the returns, the primary objective is etc. and all that. But what it told me is there are people of every type. There are VCs who are forced to invest. The other day I met somebody somebody who is doing a robotics startup. He's saying, I know this guy, I know that guy has a money which he has to deploy, and his agenda is only to deploy in emerging nations robotic companies. He's saying there is no robotics company that is competing with me to raise capital from him. So I will get it, don't worry about it, right? So VCs also have some compulsions, you just have to know the right guy. And the same guy, just when we were selling the company, which is about a month back, he came to me saying, where do I raise capital, how do I make pitch, what do I do, and etc. and all. 2 days back when I met him, he's saying there is this guy, that guy will invest, I have no problem. So there are VCs of all types. So you keep going and find the right fit. There are people who just don't care, people who want only engineers, people who want MBAs, people who want only Stanfords, and etc. and all, yeah.
Now that you have tasted success, how confident are you about going about one more new venture like this?
Actually, the state of mind keeps changing from one to another, and it happens all the time in entrepreneurship, even otherwise, right? When difficulties come, you feel like, oh my God, I want to just leave this and go away, and etc. When it's all happy, you want to do it again, and etc. and all that. Yeah. So actually, first time when we did it, I think there was a lot of ignorance, and that's why we did it. In the sense, what we actually, like today, if somebody says, okay, there's this unorganized sector, who will not get computerized, somehow work with phones and take that inventory, sell and etc. And just looking at it conceptually, probably I wouldn't do it again. Right? It is just not possible, not scalable. Who will spend time there, what and etc. and all that. I think a lot of ignorance got us to do it, and now having done it. No. I also know how difficult it is to be a VC. There's a lot of abuse from entrepreneurs, right? So, no, I think one thing entrepreneurship and for us it has enabled is given us a lot of freedom now, right? I mean, we can do those things that you want to do without really worrying about will the family be fine, blah blah blah, and you don't have to do it because you have to make another success or make money. None of the, I mean, it really gives that freedom, and that is of immense value. It is like, I mean, when you feel it, it is great. So I think I don't know what we'll do next, but right now my state of mind is, let me do something which I don't have to deal with 650, 700 people, right? I want to do something that only one person can do and etc. That is the state of mind right now. It may change. So I may not, if you ask me to start a company again, I won't do it now. Yeah. Actually, it is iterative. It just happens. The initial days you put a team together, I think after 10, 15 people, it just happens by itself. I really didn't have to put any effort to make it from 300 to 650. Today I learned actually it's 680. So didn't have to do anything because they're managers and the whole system comes in place and then does it. Even the numbers, right? I mean, when I look back and say, the big numbers, I mean, the official number last year was 600 crores. Now, like 600 crores is a big number. When you take a minute and think, how have you done a 600 crore turnover? There is no answer, but the system does it. The machinery does it, right? So I think it is far more easy once it starts happening by itself. You don't have to do anything. I mean, people say, you are the entrepreneur who made it and etc. and all that. Actually, I don't feel any of that. It is just happening by the system.
Yeah. Did you feel any time that when sharing this idea with many people, did you feel that when somebody copied, somebody became competition to you, and then somebody can give much better execution than just being this good idea?
Yeah. Actually, we felt it, and we had a problem also. Though we were the first one to start when we started, just a year later, there were like many companies which came in, and we had raised 2.5 crores, and one of our competitors had raised $6 million. And they were more experienced, they came from travel background and all those things, and then we were learning while we were doing. I had the same challenges as people. How do you motivate people? You have never motivated people, you've never done any of those. How do you recruit and etc. And then your competitor is a person who has done it all, who has 20 years experience, who has more money, he's come from travel background and etc. and all, and then you feel like just on that he can beat you. Even if you have 6 million, you will fail because you don't have this experience. You're learning on the job, fighting with him and etc. and all. And added to that, because he had money, he was doing many things. Like he was giving, when bus operators were not taking software, he gave it for free. Even then when they were not taking, he gave computers for free. He said, use this computer, use my software, somehow get computerized. I will consider it as an investment. Once you are computerized, I will get the return on investment and etc. Then also they were not taking. So he was spending money left, right, center on that side, and also on this side he started a campaign all India in Times of India saying 1 rupee a ticket anywhere to anywhere in India, 1 rupee a ticket. And when all this is happening, we were very tensed. Oh, then all these theories come to your mind saying, oh, first mover is not the big thing, it is the second mover who will win, right? Because he has learned from you and etc. and all that. And all these things come to your mind and you don't know what to do. You feel terrible because oh, why did I go to press? Why did I go and talk to everybody, media, saying we are doing this idea, somebody has copied that, this and all. All this goes through. But thankfully, again, I mean, you feel like a repetition, but during those days, the guys that we had who we all could go as the mentors, the TiE mentors. So we went to them and asked them, what do we do? How do we do? And they said, just don't focus on anything. All this is a split-second decision. I mean, these are the words they said. It's a split-second decision for you to decide saying, okay, I will give computers for free, or I will spend this, I will launch a 1 rupee ticket. It's all it doesn't take more than a split second for you to say that, right? But what is more important is, why is this guy, why will he buy? What is his problem? How will you solve it? And etc. They said, just blindly do it. And they said it's a marathon. I mean, these are the things that they told us which got embedded. It's a marathon, and in this marathon, people who are in sprints are not the guys who will win. You just do the right things in a long run, you'll be fine, and etc. and all that. Some kind of philosophy. And thankfully, and it was useful. And thankfully, we believed in it. We said, whatever the mentor says, we will go for it. And then we believed in it, and we started just working on the product. Even though we got very few customers, most important thing was, are they converting? Why are they not buying? How do we get them to buy? Etc. etc. and all that. While they did all these things, and we didn't even launch the bus operator software, though we had the money. When competitor was launching it, giving to the bus operators, giving it for free, and etc., we didn't do any of that. It was a big threat. If they were successful, it would have been a big threat to us. Thankfully, they were not successful, but our mentors had the wisdom to say that they will not be successful, right? And they ran out of money, and Lehman Brothers collapsed, and everything that they spent their money on until then was a loss-making thing, in the sense that you give a software to the bus operator is not paying you any money. Every activity that you did with your money, none of those activities were getting you money. Whereas every activity that we did until then, every activity was giving us money, which is sell the ticket. Every time a ticket is sold, whether he's giving you 10 rupees, 20 rupees, whatever it is, he's giving you money. So which means when a Lehman Brothers happened, even if you don't do any new initiatives and etc. and all, you're fine because money is coming in. For them, if they do what they're doing, even if they're just static, if they don't do anything, they still have to, there's no revenue. They still have to spend money. And in that course, they just got collapsed. They couldn't raise money, and it got collapsed. And then all their customers who bought for 1 rupee a ticket, suddenly now that website is not there, and they're saying, where do we buy? And we had a free customers. All of them just came to us, and after that we did it repeatedly. And every year we had a new competitor coming and giving discounts, new competitor saying 50% off, that, this and all, and none of those ever bothered us, because we went through that and we learned, and personally didn't bother us, materialistically also didn't affect the business, ever. And every time, like Make My Trip, even now I think it is, recently it was doing some, between this time to this time, if you book 50% off or something like that. It is hard cash, you get 50% off or something like that, but it didn't affect any of our thing. Yeah. The lady there, sorry. Yeah, true. I think one way to build trust with anybody, with them, with investors, with anybody, is to just be yourself, right? I mean, see, do you genuinely believe that you want to do this? Do you genuinely believe that it is good for the society, to everybody? I mean, if that is the case, right? Whatever it is, I mean, what are the motivations, what are the things that you got you here, and why are you doing what you're doing, right? When you believe in all those things, it's so easy to speak about it, right? And yes, you won't get the first guy who you liked to join you, because his motivations may not be to do this. His motivation may be to solve a high-end technology problem which you may not have. But you should be fine with it, because it is just a mismatch, right? And then you keep going. The people, many of them don't join and etc. and all, but someday you will come across a guy who is equally motivated with what you're doing. But one thing that you have to maintain is that consistency which comes with your kind of honesty. Right? 20 guys that you speak to, 5 years later you talk to the guy that you recruited, you are speaking the same thing, same motivation until something has changed, right? I think that is what will get people following you, that is what will get people trusting you, and you have to be patient and tolerant, saying that not everybody that I like and I speak will join, right? And the way you will be prepared is you will say, if I want to recruit one guy, you will interview 100 guys. That is okay, that is just getting prepared. I think at no time you can afford to be disappointed. You can afford to be disappointed with anything, right? If you have diluted more, then also you should just shrug it away, move forward. If customers are not buying, if competitors are doing this thing, that thing, and etc. and all, you should just build that thing to just put it aside and move forward and cheat yourself that everything is fine, right? Actually, those things do wonders. It is a very mixed journey, difficult and very easy and etc. Yeah, sorry.
I have a side story to add. I met you when you were canvassing in 2006.
Oh my God!
And, I don't know if you remember, but I'd asked you some conceptual questions for your business, and you had requested me to help you as an advisor.
Oh.
I went and asked my wife, and I told her very honestly that I don't think this guy needs any advice. He's got so much positive energy. And I kind of refused to give you advice at that time. I see the same positive energy in you today also. Hats off to that.
Thank you. Sure.
Funny, internet knows what are you going to do next?
I just answered that, yeah.
Funny, I have a request. I want you to take your seat.
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
I have a question with respect to. I'm sorry. How did your infrastructure evolve from startup to, because your only brand name is redBus, don't have any other stuff. So how do you maintain it, and has it gone down?
The technology infrastructure, you mean? Yeah, it has gone down multiple times. The infrastructure is, earlier we were on the server and etc. Then we were amongst the first people who moved on to cloud, and that again was because this was getting very expensive, and we theoretically learned that it will reduce the cost by half, because in the night you can cut down all the servers and etc. and all that, and you can use only what you need and etc. Actually, we were amongst the first people who moved on to the cloud from India. Actually, we were probably the first company where 100% was coming out of the cloud, and hence we were a case study at Amazon also, and hence also we got to work with Werner, directly with Werner. And during those days, Werner is the CTO of Amazon, and during those days actually it was terrible. Instances would just vanish, and many times we reported that problem and we got corrected and etc. and all that, and after that it was like a very good thing. We've evolved, and we've done this. My co-founder Charan, he has a lot of risk appetite. He has a lot of optimism. For him, things will work. I mean, actually, he was managing technology, and after the first 3-4 years, we had to say, let's get somebody, because his funda is, if you write a software, it should work. He would refuse to recruit testing team. He would say, you've written, I mean, for him it was like that. It has to work. And our VCs used to go, and that was some of the reasons where the site went down and etc. and all that. Even today he's like that. Today at least, okay, he has some testing people now because it's a company and etc. and all that, but he's like that. And with that optimism and etc., he convinced us to move on to cloud. During those days, it was a big evaluation where even the CEO has to be involved. My VCs would say, as a CEO, have you involved, made the decision to move on to cloud, that, this and all, but we obviously didn't do any of that. We went with Charan, and it turned out to be phenomenal. And after that, every time, like we are also a case study, big data at Google, and we started using it when even they were building it in parallel. And when they launched officially, we are one of the very few people who had a full-fledged system running on Google's BigQuery, and they put us as a case study on Google. If you go to google.com/case study somewhere, you'll find redBus a case study there. Many of those things, and every time we took that risk and experimented with something new, it worked out well. for us. Yeah.
Why did you decide to sell?
Okay, multiple multiple reasons, many reasons, but it is certainly not because the VCs wanted to sell. I mean, there was some things saying that okay, VCs are terrible because such a beautiful company, such a future, it has prosperity and etc. But unfortunately, they had to sell because they raised capital from VCs and etc. That was one of the stories that was making rounds. That is absolutely not true, because we were doing so well and fine. Any VC wanted to sell, there was another VC who wanted to buy. Because we are not raising capital, there is no way another VC could come in and take shares of the company. So the only other way is the secondary offer. If any other person want to sell, they could buy. And there were VCs approaching our VCs, and the VCs were fine. The price was the same, either you sell or sell secondary. It was very similar. So that is not the reason, but there are like many other reasons. Yeah. In general, yeah.
How the simplicity in your designs and strategy, since it's a travel industry, how you approach that simplicity in the designs, even in your email campaigning. Was it strategy, or because I never saw anything in the travel industry in that front. Was it a strategy, or just like that it happened?
Actually, when we first designed our website, if you go to Wayback Machine and see 2006, how was redBus? It was all jazzy with blue color and carousels and etc. and all that. It was very flashy and etc. And then we raised capital from seed fund, and we wanted to release a new version. That's when we sat with Mahesh Murthy of seed fund. So we sat with him, and he said he actually he helped us in the design. I mean, the design that we have now is actually designed by him, and we've had it for 7 years now. It is functioning well and everything. But I think he gave that character into that website, and subsequently to the company and to the emails and everything that we do. He said, what is the purpose? Your purpose is to buy tickets, just have that. And everything else, remove. He even actually convinced us to remove cancellation. There is a tab which says cancel ticket, right? And his logic is people are not coming to your site to cancel tickets. So why do you want to have it in the home page? I mean, we didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. But we still have that cancellation tab. But he forced us to remove all that. And that's how we got that plain white, whatever is required, just put that. And it also gelled well with our background. And once you do that and talk about it, you attract only such people. And the people that join in your team, they also to the point, I mean, whatever is required, let's just do that and etc. and all. And when we launched our campaigns, I mean, that time, like Make My Trip and everybody would launch campaign, they would say, come, I will give you 50% discount. But when you go there and buy, you realize that actually it is not in this transaction, but after you buy this transaction, not next month, if you come back July next year, if you buy, that is where you get 50%, or some complex logic like that which is actually of no use to anybody. But when we launched any of those systems, we said, you come here, you would get it then. Because we had our own reasons why we had to give discounts, and we wanted them to take. We never ever thought that we should cheat a customer, get him here and somehow make a sale to him. And I think that just sets in. That same thing went to the email campaign and etc. But as a company becomes big, right, it is very difficult. At times I feel unless you are a dictator, right, those things just don't. As a company, right, you also want to give freedom to people and etc. They have their own expression. Somebody may not like to the point. Somebody may want this way, that way. So a little bit it gets a little diluted. But I think for the good reasons, because if A.B. Zakaria had not taught me about SEM, probably we would have never done SEM in our entire life.
For customer discounting.
Last question?
We have time.
Oh, we have time?
How much energy do you have?
No, I have.
So we'll continue till you have energy.
Oh my God.
Or till 8 o'clock.
Okay, sure. Sure.
For customer acquisition, did you have to resort to a lot of deals and discounts, or
No. Actually, we did give discounts. but yes, also for customer acquisition, but not as a price war. We never wanted to do price war. So what we did is we wanted that credibility. You are nobody, nobody knows you. Then we said, okay, if ICICI Bank sends a SMS to its customer saying book bus tickets with ICICI card on redBus and get whatever 5%, 10% discount, more than the customers and etc. What it does is ICICI Bank getting associated with redBus, which means in customers' mind instantly redBus is actually something that is worth something, right? When we sent that campaign, the first time when we sent that campaign, actually many of my friends and etc. called me and said, wow, yeah, redBus to abhi, it is kahin ki reach, I mean it reached somewhere. ICICI is also sent saying redBus bolke, right? So for those things we did it, but we were very, very disciplined in the sense that when you send through ICICI for its customer base, when people come and use that discount, the measurement that you do is how many new customers have come. If 100 people have used that discount coupon, out of which how many of those customers already existed in your database and how many are new, and you attribute this cost only to the guys who have come new, and you do it with another bank and test this and etc. You get into these numbers and crunch and then figure out what works and only do that. Don't generally do because it feels good, right? Yeah. And actually our VCs also over time and also since beginning, also talking about that VC answer, right? I mean we've also had times when actually many VCs rejected us even after doing the first round. In the second round people said, oh, but you have zero marketing budget, but you should have $3 million, otherwise a consumer business doesn't start in India, cannot see the light of the day. And I know it because I have launched some websites in the past. I mean, the VC were saying, I launched some websites in the past, so it just doesn't happen. Believe me, if this is the plan, I am not investing. I like your idea, I like what you have done, I like what is it, but if you put $3 million in your marketing budget, then I will invest, otherwise I won't invest. We said, but that is not what we believe. Then we went to the next VC, next VC, next VC. Then you find the right VC who is like you, and then he invests. I think that's when the synergy comes in. All of you are thinking, I mean, more or less similar. You're not like going in various different directions.
Okay, so before we take the next question, just how many hands are there? I know Phani has gone on for 1 hour and 50 minutes standing on his feet. Let's just raise all the hands and we'll take that many questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Phani, 8
Sure.
okay?
Yeah.
We'll just go in this order.
Okay, sure. Sure.
Thank you very much. Frankly speaking, I started my business at 28 after completion of my MBA. It was a new product and it was a new concept called algorithm. It was published in TV, everything. I was excited, and I brought my 3 friends. I invested around 6 lakh and my friends invested around 4 lakh. It was almost around 14, it crossed around 14 lakh. So we started our outlet in Bhanshan. It was a tender component. We designed a machine. And
no, ask a question, please. Please
Yeah.
ask your question.
I just want to share this. So after that we started, and it went very well for some time, and we lost entirely the business capital, entirely lost. Then we thought it doesn't work out, and we lost everything. And currently I'm working in Chapter. So when I listened to your words and everything, I got inspired. Really. I was working on some concepts before also when Facebook came, and when we got it output and everything. We had a concept called Vrindavan. It was a very beautiful concept, which we used to start working on sometime. Currently I'm inspired, so that I'll just work on that still more.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sure.
Now, what state of mind you have, do you think that it's a manifestation of a dream which you are doing in childhood or any kind of thing, irrespective if you are an engineer?
Yeah, I think one thing that I'll connect it back to is the Texas Instruments. I was so happy doing what I was doing. I was very confident because I wanted to make that chip, and that chip was getting ready. I was very, very happy at the top of that thing, and nothing seemed to be like not possible, right? I think that is what that confidence got me to start redBus and etc. And why I was confident at Texas Instruments again. So I think these series of confidence building things have got me here. And even during the redBus journey, I have also told to one of my board members that I don't want to do anything which has a risk to my confidence, right? Because I just don't want to hurt my confidence. So we've also been selective at skewed or so directed in only one way, that the company has to be exitable. Only then you invest. The company has to make that impact, make that revenue that big. Only then that sees the light of the day. But there are so many companies which are good, which are needed to the society, which are sustainable, which can make profit and etc. But they just don't see the light of the day because they are not exitable. They can't be $1 billion business and etc. and all that, right? So what is running in my mind is how can we, I mean, the reason exit becomes a big thing is because today so many years back somebody invented the VC model and said, this is a model where I put money, I get the money back and etc. and all that. And today we're all trying to do only those things which are doing that. So can we invent a model? Can we invent something, right, which makes even these businesses or these ideas see the light of the day? Or maybe it is already there. Can we pursue it? Even if it doesn't mean another success and another money for me, I'm just that is the state of mind. It may change, it may do whatever, but I'm thinking that if it is sustainable, if it is making money, if it is making profit, if it is making as much money as your salary is making, right, why wouldn't you do it? And how can others participate, either investors or etc., to make that happen? So that is what the top of my mind right now is. Yeah. And especially also seeing the bus operators, their business, their thinking, their everything is very, very different to all of our thinking, our business and etc. Because their thing is, I buy a bus, at the end of the month it has to make profit, and as long as it keeps making profit, I will keep running buses. And that is a simple model, right? So how is he getting funding? How is he motivated? What is happening there? Can something like that happen here, so that all of us also get motivated and do these things and etc. Yeah. So, yeah.
So my question was more on the partnership side. So for a startup like ours, which is we just started, we got few customers, but we are very, very small right now. And whenever we approach a player, so we believe that partnerships and collaborators are something which is very, very important and are needed for me to sort of expand myself. But whenever we approach a player, the first question comes in, what is in it for me, right? And many times the only thing that we see from our side that we can provide them is, one, it could be a complementary offering from our side, it can complement their offering, or two, we can give a revenue share kind of thing. But many times we find that these are not of great interest to them, right? So I wanted to get your thoughts and views on how you went about it, if you went for partnerships, and what was your experience, your thoughts.
Sorry. Yeah, actually we did go for partnerships. For example, when we started, just 1-2 years after that, we had Make My Trip and all these websites, and they were much bigger, much well known and etc. And they also wanted to sell bus tickets. By then we were not known, nobody knows about us and etc. And they came to us and said, will you give your inventory to us? We want to sell. And then the question is, should we give the inventory to them? Because if we give inventory to them, then because of their brand and presence and etc., people will just go and buy there. And we will become obsolete. We'll just become a supplier, unknown, unnamed supplier to Make My Trip, which is very uninteresting business, right? But if we don't give them, the problem is, because they're so big and etc., they will set up their own back end and etc., and then compete with us. So in that thing and etc. and all, we said, again, we asked the mentors and all, there's this underlying philosophy that you need that expertise to do the things right and etc. People may set up another website, but as long as they don't know why these customers are buying what and etc. and all, that is that intangible IP that you have, which makes you successful and etc. That is what we heard, and with that confidence we gave API the whole access to Make My Trip. They would sell the same inventory that was there on redBus at the same price, at times with discount, on such a big platform like, I mean, I'm taking Make My Trip, but please replace it with any of the travel website. But still they never were doing any significant number of tickets sold as we were doing, right? So at times these partnerships, our learning is none of them. Today we power almost every organized bus ticketing in the country. Whether it is you buy a bus ticket through your Airtel mobile, or you buy through a Paytm, or you buy through Suvidha, DTH, Airtel, DTH, you buy anywhere, the backend most likely is powered by us. But none of them, even all of them aggregate put together, are not doing any significant numbers. I can't talk about the numbers, but any significant, not even, I mean, nothing. Even without them, we can survive, not just survive, I mean, even if they go out, it won't make any change in our numbers. So that is our learning about the partnerships. And when you're striking the deal with partnerships, initially we said, when we launched with Make My Trip, we knew what they needed. They were not looking at revenues, they're not looking at profits, at least from bus business, they were only looking at having that category. And once we got that insight, we just went to them and said, initially we negotiated, we won't give any commission. If you want to put and sell, sell. And they almost agreed to it. We actually gave them meaningless commission, like completely meaningless. They agreed to it, we started selling, everything was fine. So I think it is just understanding what is that they need, and then just give them that. And some of our partners still work with us at very low commissions, but they work with us because our data is clean, right? Us versus our competitors, when we say this bus, this is a phone number of that bus operator, it leaves at 9 a.m., reaches at 10 p.m., most likely that data is right. And we have to make it right because we have the largest number of consumers. And just because of that we can invest and etc. and all that, and data becomes clean. And the same bus represented by any of maybe by one of our competitors will say that this is a phone number, and the phone number nobody picks up. So just for that, some of our partners work with us at a lower commission because the data is clean. Yeah. Sorry.
How do you suggest co-founders divide the equity? Do you see an advantage in dividing equally, or makes it one person more?
Actually, in our case, we just did it equally. When we started, we didn't think so much. We didn't think anything. We didn't think should we have diversity, should we have how to choose a co-founder, who should be the co-founder. Nothing. We just were flatmates. We started. We said 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and just started. Actually, it didn't matter at all. And thankfully, once the VC invests in you, a lot of rules and regulations or this thing gets set, which is good. Because I mean, the first time when we raised capital from VCs, they said all the stock that you own, let's say 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, let's say there are 100 shares and then 33, 33, 33. And then the VC came in and said, these 33 shares that you own, actually you own only 3 shares, 30 shares is with me, right? I mean, that is called vesting. When we saw that, we were very worried. What is this guy? He's saying your shares also not your shares, right? You will start at 0 and all the shares are mine, or that is the interpretation that you have. But all those things I think evolved over time, and they're very good things. Like what happens if one of the co-founders just leaves, right? Will he still have the same equity? Okay, you may not mind him having the same equity, but does it motivate for you also to leave? Why go through all this hassle when you have the same equity? You can also, right? So many of these things, the rules are set when you raise the first round of capital. They're very useful, and things take a course correction. If you're doing well, if you're contributing more, because there are the VCs there, and I think in general the world is fair, so they will take care. Like for example, even though we didn't have some equity, we got some equity back, right? Because our investors felt probably that I think I don't know if I can advise that, but I think because things have been nice and good and happy ending, happy beginning, and etc., I can probably afford to take this worldview, saying that okay, world is fair, things will happen, and etc. and all. But that is what happened to us, and yeah. Okay, one thing probably that I would do differently is find a co-founder who can be a CEO. I mean, basically, person who can manage people and etc. and all, because I don't think I'm good at it, and I do it well, and I enjoy doing it. So probably I will do that, one thing. And the other thing probably that I would do is actually invest in recruiting the team. Like in our case, only recently we found our first HR head, the Chief Human Resources Officer. 6.5 years we never had, and the company grew to 650 people without having HR head because we were pitching it, and it always kept postponing. And once we had the HR head, it was so seamless. Actually, I realized why I was taking so much stress. Actually, it is supposed to be done by the HR head, or it is supposed to be done by the finance. And until we recruited the CFO, I was taking so much tension because on paper we seem to be making money, but there's no money in the bank, right? Like something is happening, and it feels terrible because where is the money going? What is happening? You just don't know what is happening, leakage, etc., and all that. And you are trying to fix it. An engineer trying to fix all that thing, and every time you're thinking, let us write this software this way, approval, disapproval, trying to fix a finance problem through some kind of a workflow and etc. and all, and it never gets fixed until we found the CFO. Once he came in, he just fixed it seamlessly because he's been doing it, he's experienced and etc. And we were taking a lot of stress. We didn't know how to do it, and we were attentive to do it. So I think if I were to do it again, I think I will put this team, I will not do the selling of tickets, I will not do all those things. First thing probably I will do is try to find people and then put together and then embark on that journey. Yeah.
You went to different VCs until you succeed. Okay. So is there any risk in doing that? So you may be presenting your ideas to multiple VCs who has a lot of money, and you may be building a competitor. Like say suppose one VC wants to make your idea redBus, and he can put money and make it, and by the time you go with another VC, he may be a competitor for you. Don't you think that kind of thing happens?
Actually, you have no choice because even before you went to VC, you went to the media and you told your story and you're told that it will be successful, you are this big guy like next Infosys in making and blah 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 and all that, right? So even if you don't go to the VC, everybody in the world knows that okay, this is a great idea. So I think after a while you have no choice. Everybody knows everything. The only choice is just do it, and then there are all these IPs, intangible IPs that will help greatly and give you a lot of confidence that it is going to be. And with experience, I think after we've gone through today, I strongly believe that things are just not replicable. I have a lot of respect for Make My Trip, a lot of respect actually, the way they do and etc. and all that. But it is bandwidth constraint. They can't do redBus and they can't do what bus ticketing does and etc. and all. They have their priorities, they do that and etc. So everybody has their job. VC, I don't think it will hurt. Even people, our competitors who do this as a full-time job and are not able to do it. People who do a part-time job will not be able to do it. Yeah.
So how do you approach VC? Sending emails or?
Actually, in our case, TiE sent the email when we got selected and we got the VCs. Then after that, I think after you raise the first round, people know about you and etc. And this VC will put you in touch with another VC because he has to protect his investment, and then it just flows. Happens. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Exhilarating to us.
No, I'm fine. Yeah.
Sit, Phani.
Okay.
I'm not going to take too much time, but just sit. And I think we all owe Phani a standing ovation. So,
thank you.
This was the most brilliant 2 hours of a TiE session that I've attended. Thank you very much for that. I was one of the guys who sat in his pitch. Now he reminded me of the date 21st July 2006. I was there in that room. I think I was mesmerized then. I'm mesmerized now. The energy that Phani demonstrated then, he continues to demonstrate now. And let me take this opportunity to wish him the very, very best in all his future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phani.
Thank you, everyone.
There is dinner.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Dinner served here upstairs, and I'm sure Phani will also be there for dinner. So